crafty friend, it's Justine Dvorak from Stationery by Justine, where when I craft, my world stands still. Today, I'm going to do something that feels bizarre and illegal. What? Yes, I'm doing that on the background of my project because today I'm going to create a night sky, and I'm going to do something that I've never done before to create a scene. So that's what this video is all about, scenes. So there's 3 new stamps. Let's just chat about them really briefly. I'm just going to pop a little watermarked picture on the screen here as we go. But there is the Don't Be Coy, which is adorable. There's 2 fish that you can color to your heart's content. And there are 5 different sentiments for fun cards. There's Holy Carp, you're cute, sending you oceans of love. Don't be coy, you're fabulous. The stronger the current, you are stronger than the current. Goodness, I can't read. And then let me know how you're doing. So super fun. And then I really love Bog Frog. Here he is. Isn't he just adorable? I have a lot of images of him colored and ready to make a bunch of cards in the future. So you will definitely be seeing Bog Frog quite a lot from me. He is more than adorable. I just love everything about him. But this stamp set features lots of different elements for making scene cards, so you can totally grab inspiration from today's video for those scene cards. And then what brings us here today, what brings us together is the actual card that I'm going to make on camera with you today. So this will be from the All American Stamps. So there is this really cute little gal here, and she is going to be celebrating with fireworks. Yes. Now, Pajama Crafter Stamps is an American company, so there is quite a lot of Americana kind of themes for a lot of their stamps. They have a really great American flag. They have flag. They have a great bald eagle head, which is fantastic. And then there's also this one, Yankee Doodle Day. An oldie but a goodie. Oldie. It's not really old, but it's, not brand new right now. But I love this sentiment, Let Freedom Ring. I also really love the Katy Perry. I think I'm going to use that on today's card. I do have 3 other sentiments that I'm going to use, but you know me, I love a heavy sentiment card. I think 2 of those are going to go on the inside of the card. But this firework is going to be doing a lot of the heavy lifting on my card today. So let's dive right into my actual project, shall we? I am more than pumped to get going because I've had this vision of this card in my head for a while now, since lunch. No, but okay, for scene cards, if it is nighttime, I recommend taking a marker and just going around the stamped image and just getting rid of the white line. Now, full disclosure, I did stamp her out here and use my scan and cut to cut her out on this project. So I could have put my scan and cut in the mode where it just cuts right up to the line, and I could do that. I probably will for future projects. Then you don't have to do this, but I wasn't sure about what I was going to or how I was going to use this image on my project, and I didn't realize I was going to do a night sky until it was all colored up. So what I'm doing here is just getting rid of, I'll probably cut that little area, but just getting rid of that white space, but also I'm not using the same color family that I used to color her hair. So I have this gal here, and I colored her hair to be like she has black hair, right? But when you Copic color with black ink, you want to leave shadows and highlights, especially for hair. Therefore, I used some cool tone grays, right? And for getting rid of this white line here, I'm now using my darkest warm gray that I could find, which is W9 in my stash. And this just gives a little black outline to the stamp without making her hair or anything look like bigger. I mean, we love big hair. The bigger the hair, the higher to heaven, right? But is that a saying? I feel like that's a saying from some kind of movie. Anyway, yeah, some things just live in my head rent free, and that is Very strange little quote. Anyway, she's got big hair. She's got cute little ponytails. And I just am coloring her up here. Okay. I'm going to go back and just cut a little bit more off the bottom here artfully with my scissors. And we'll just go in. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, wow, the stamps are so cute, but no dies. You guys, a scan and cut is a great investment. And it definitely has saved me a lot of money on not having a whole bunch of dies. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love dies, but I feel like you can make your crafty budget go a long way if you don't have to buy dies for every single stamp set. But, you know, to each their own. Some people love fussy cutting. Some people hate it. I don't really care. It's whatever for me. Okay, I think I've got her all set to go. She is super cute. Okay, so I'm going to set her off to the side and let's focus on the background for just a bit because this background is going to be a labor of love, if you will. So I'm starting with black cardstock. Now this is special smooth cardstock from Pajama Crafter Stamps called Coal. And I like to grab it in the full sheet form because I like to make all sorts of different sizes of cards. So I always grab it in the full sheets. And I'm going to cut this down to the A2 size, but I probably will have a border on my project, so this probably will get trimmed, but I just cut it down to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Real simple. Okay. Now, for a scene card, you always want to be mindful about the foreground and the background, right? So the foreground is going to be closer, background is in the back. Okay, so for my foreground in the front, I am going to have this little strip down here that says Star Spangled and Fabulous. Haha. Now I want to keep that white for right now because I'm going to go ahead and do some ink blending and stuff on the bottom here to change that up a little so it's not just like she's on a white iceberg. Who knows where maybe she's on snow. I don't know. I don't know her story here, but it's going to end up being grass because that just makes sense to me. And it's important to give the character some kind of a ground, right? We don't need her floating in space. When you're making a scene, you want her to have some kind of ground to stand on. So this is going to be the foreground and the ground for her to be on. And I'm going to kind of put her over a tad like so because the eye just needs to be going somewhere, right? Now, can I fit this baby you are a firework? You're a firework. Yes, I can. Hooray. Okay, so that is the plan for that little sentiment to go there. And then these are going to go in the inside for sure. I think these are super fun. Party like it's 1776 and sparkle like it's the 4th of July. Super cute. Okay, so for my background, we're going to go crazy. Like I said, you're probably like, wait, nothing seems illegal here. That's kind of a very loose term, but I'm going to color on heat embossed stamped images. What? Yep, never done it. Don't know if it's gonna work. We're gonna have fun figuring it out together. Okay, so my ground is gonna be here. So roughly, I don't need to stamp fireworks on the bottom inch-ish of the card. So that's something to keep in mind. I'm gonna have my sentiment in the top right-hand corner to kind of draw the eye to the character. Now, I'm not going to use any kind of tool that deters heat embossing powder from getting stuck anywhere because I want sprinkles, right? This is going to be a firework card. Although, if you are making some kind of a background with clouds or something where you don't want it to have sprinkles or ash like fireworks, you can totally use a heat embossing tool that will keep the static down. I'm moving this down, way down actually. It's not even going to be on camera. I'm so sorry, but you won't see me stamp it. Maybe you will. There you go. See a corner of it. But this is because I need to get my head over where this is. And I'm going to just go with the baby your. And if that's straight enough, you know what? No, we're going to make it wonky. because the other sentiment will be straight. Perfect. Perfectly imperfect. That's what I go with, right? Okay, and then we're going to go in kind of crazy with our first layer of heat embossing. We're going to do 2 different layers and 2 different rounds of this. So we're going to go off of the card in some areas and then on in other areas. Now, what in the world was I thinking doing this? You might be wondering. I'm going to kind of turn it as I go. Well, I thought about using the Lisa Horton Interference or the metallic ones from Lisa Horton, and I thought it would be brighter. So that was my first plan for this card, although it just wasn't bright enough for what I was looking for. So we're going to go ahead and heat emboss instead, and then color over it with alcohol markers. Fun, fun, fun. Okay, just like kind of all over-ish. Now I'm kind of leaving room because, again, I'm going to go in with 2 layers here. Maybe 1 more over here. I know that most of that will be covered up, but that's okay. All right, I'm, by the way, using clear embossing ink, nothing fancy, stamp block from my stash. Okay, now I'm going to go in with white embossing powder. Embossing. We're going to emboss it up in here. This is, I think, Pink and Main. Yep, Pink and Main frosting. So just a standard good white. We're going to tap it off. I keep it in this little container from $1.25 Tree because it contains it, and then I don't have to clean it up. I just put the lid on and we're good to go for the next project, right? And I do a lot of heat embossing with white ink and silver, gold, black, and clear. So those are the 5 that I keep in my little containers. Okay, I'm not going to tap off too much because, again, we want the sprinkle. We want the sprinkle. All right, I'm going to use my heat tool. This is ridiculously hot, so if you use a heat tool, be careful. And I'm going to let it warm up for just like a second before I bring it to my project, but I'm going to mute this part of the video. You're going to see me coming on the front of, going like heating it on the front and then coming in from the back and warming the back. It might warp, so that's just to kind of help make it so it doesn't warp so much. I'm going to tap a little bit because I do see some by the sentiment that I just want it to be a little clearer. There we go. And now I'm going to just to heat it until it gets shiny. Once it's shiny, I'm going to move the heat tool away from that area because it can become over heat embossed. So once it's shiny, we're moving on. Shiny, move on. All the way around. And I probably will use this little tweezy because I have delicate fingers, okay? All right, we're going to mute this. What is going on with my tweezers nowadays? Okay, I'm going to mute this and you can see the magic happen. Heat embossing is just like, it's like magic, okay? All right, here we go. Making sure it's hot. And then bringing it to my project. Ditch the tweezers. All right, we've got a great first go around with this. Okay, now I'm going to grab the same color Copic markers that I used to color my gal. And those are some of my reds. I think I use these too. These are kind of my go-to reds. And I'm going to put the darkest color in the middle and just kind of go out and about like so. And yep, some of the marker will get on the background and it's fine. And then I'm going to come in with the lighter color and just kind of blend it through. Not super specifically and super carefully, but just enough, right? Ooh, look at those adverbs going. All right. And then this is kind of looking like flowers at the moment, but I promise you they will look like fireworks. And with our little gal with her American flag cape, I think it will definitely read 4th of July. Okay, this says red violet 29. And we're going to go from the outside in for a lot of these. And any marker that gets on the background will just kind of blend in. And if it doesn't, that's just none of my business, okay? I'm going to leave some of it white so it kind of looks like it's lit. And go all the way around. Please let me know in the comments, what is your favorite stamp from this new release? And would you ever try making a background with alcohol markers and embossing ink? Because I'm curious. Maybe someone else has done this before. I don't know. But again, just kind of happened in my head this morning. And I figured, let's give it a go. All right. Let me know. Are you a firework fan? I know a lot of people who are dog people, not dog people, but people who have dogs really do not like fireworks. But yeah, I mean, I feel like fireworks and like a nice show are great, but fireworks kind of scare me a little bit because I always hear the crazy stories about fingers and such. But as long as we're safe, we're good. Okay, now let's grab that same stamp again, and I'm going to go over just some of the spots. We're going to heat emboss 3 times. Oh, you guys, we're just going to go crazy in here. And I'm going to put just a few here in some of the blank spots. Some of them are going to overlap. This is like the grand finale of the evening, I think, on the project. Hopefully that this doesn't remelt too much. And I don't know how the ink is going to, like the heat embossing and stuff is going to go with ink, the alcohol ink. We're going to find out together, okay? All right. Where's my silver? Here we go. Go with silver next, so it's kind of sparkly. By the way, I did ditch the tweezers when I was heat embossing. I don't know. I used them to open something, and I just feel like they got bent kind of goofy. So it's my own fault. All right, I'm going to quick heat emboss this layer, and we'll be right back. Okay, what I have learned from doing this little experiment with you today is that it does kind of react. The marker kind of does react here. Do you see that? I mean, it probably just remelted the powder and is having some kind of a reaction there. So I kind of like it though. It's given a little bit of pink and her lips have pink. So it's going to work with the project, but we're just learning together, aren't we, today? Okay, third and final layer, and I think I'm going to pull from some really fun embossing powder that's been in my stash for a bit now. That is super fun and different. I don't have like a million embossing powders, but I do have the basics, and I have a lot of the basics, so we're just going to go with that. And then I just want one more little zhuzh. I think it's going to be behind her head, but it's fine. I'll know it's there. You'll know it's there. Okay, now this one is not in a container because it is one that it's not in a container. So I'm going to use, I need a scrap. Oh, hello. Here's a scrap. And we're going to add it on. This is a scrap that I use for swatching. This is embossing powder that has glitter in it from Pink and Main. I don't think they sell this still, but I love it. It's really bright and sparkly. Oh my goodness. Absolutely, yes. The glitter in here is just so fun. Are you team glitter or are you a glitter hater? Again, tell me in the comments. I feel like fireworks and glitter are kind of controversial, so be kind in the comments, please, to all. Okay, we're gonna heat emboss this layer once again. Great. Haha. All right. If no one ever told you, heat embossing is basically embossing powder is like a plastic, and when you heat it, it melts. Real simple, but gets the job done. Oh, now I have blue glitter everywhere. What a dream. What a dream. Okay. Now for my ground. I'm just going to give this a little wipe. And I want to make my ground be kind of with the same colorway that my background is, because I don't want it to be like taken away from the scene here. I think I might just use whatever is left on my brush. I'm going to start at the bottom because up at the top would be more bright because of the fireworks, right? And so we're just going to get a little bit of that on there. And I'll blend that up. This is just whatever ink was left on my blending brush. So there we go. Love these, by the way. And I mean, most of the time there's ink left over. So why open up your ink pad and get more if there's some still there? This is my teal one, and I just think that this is gonna darken it a little bit, but not be too dark. Remember, this is evening when the fireworks are happening, so for the scene we need it to be a wee bit dark. Okay, I'm gonna grab my black one and just kind of focus on the bottom and some of the edges. Okay, lovely. Don't want to go too heavy-handed because then won't be able to read the sentiment. I think that is all good to go. I think I need to get a different reverse tweezers because that is seeming a little bit busted. Okay, just do a quick little cleanup of this and we'll be all set. All set to assemble. All right, have you picked a favorite yet from the release? I'll be watching the comments for your favorite. I don't know. I think that my favorite might be Bog Frog, even though I'm using the All-American Girl on today's video, because I just think that Bog Frog is super cute. He's got a little coffee cup. I mean, for every coffee lover in your life, that would be a really cute little card for. And who doesn't love a fish? Anyone who knows me knows that I love crafting with ocean and space stuff. So the koi is definitely ticking the ocean. Wait a minute. I'm pretty sure koi are in fresh water. Well, you get the gist. Fish, water cards, space cards. Those are my jams. Okay, I'm just going to set this on here. Normally I would pop it up, but I'm going to pop the girl up so it looks like she's more in the foreground. So that's what we're going to do with that. Now I'm going to trim this down. Hello, Dusty. Everywhere. Okay. Trim. And I'm just going to let this have a little bit of a border just so it has like the clean look. Just a little there and a little here. I think I'm going to take 1/8 of an inch off on each side, and then that will equal 1/4 of an inch. 1/8 plus 1/8 is 1/4, and hope for the best. I think I need a little bit more off the edge there. This trimmer always messes with my head because I feel like this is the cut line, but it's actually the edge. Anyone else? Okay. All right. It'd be way easier if I just started with the correct panel to begin with, but I usually don't like to make things easy for myself. Heavens no. Why would I ever do that? Okay. Lovely. Loving that. Okay, I think I am just going to chop this in the middle. Don't be alarmed. It's fine. Because I forgot that this is going to be an A2 card, and I can't really cut off the top here because of my sentiment, and I can't cut off the bottom here because of my sentiment. So we're going to cut off the middle naturally. Make things even. Oh boy. Hold your breath, friends. This might be a little complicated. So quick and easy, I tell ya. Okay. Okay. I'm going to grab a card base because we're going to build the card on the card base, which I don't usually do on camera because I think who wants to see me glue card fronts onto a card base? Although this is a great way to fix a mistake. So here we are. I'm going to put the top part of our background on my panel first. Actually, no, we're ditching that. We won't need it until the end. I'm going to use this black panel to give us a frame. Should I use black? It's kind of looking a little dark. Think. What about this? Should we use sparkly cardstock? That looks a little much. How about silver? Let's use silver. Oh yeah. Especially because the sentiment says sparkle like it's the 4th of July. It has to be done. It just has to be done. Okay, so what I'm going to do is cut this down. More math, friends. Okay, we're going to cut this down to have just 1/8 of an inch off of the frame here because the black is still going to be on the outside. So sorry, I'm wiggling the camera. So professional. Okay. So it's going to be this layer and then this layer in the back. So we're going to glue onto this. Look at this sparkle. Oh my. Yes, yes, yes. I love it. Okay, and we're probably going to pop the ground up for the sake of the scene. Plus, it was cut from the background, so it all works out in the end. That's like the best part about card making is if you make a mistake, like I did today, multiple, you can always find a workaround. That is like one of my favorite quotes from my mom. There's always a workaround. And I feel that in my bones with card making. There is always a workaround. All right, I'm going to center this so it looks like an even border on the top and the sides, making like a capital C here. Boom, boom, boom. And then, yep, it's crooked. Luckily, I'm gluing onto glitter cardstock that is not the smoothest surface for the tape to stick on. There we go. Much, much better. Give that a second. Sometimes the heat of your hand can make that rip and stick really get nice and sticky. All right, and then this is going to get popped up with some foam strips. Just a wee bit of foam. I love foam because it helps with your scenes, giving you dimension. Lots of dimension. And it is easy as putting a sticker on, basically. Oh my, these foam strips are the perfect size. What a day. Okay, making sure that my sentiment is going to not be upside down. That's very important. Again, I'm just going to position this so it is centered on the bottom and the sides. Eyeballing it, of course. That's what we do around here. Then I'm just going to put this over it because the moisture from my hands might mess up the ink blending, so can't have that. Okay, and then look at how cute she is. Oh, she is adorable. Okay, now eyeballing where I want my gal to be based on not covering up too much of the sentiment and making sure that her body and such is all one level. We don't need her legs being like up like this and her head being down. I don't want it to be saggy. So I'm looking at how she's positioned on my card right here. And I think that is a great spot because I'm not covering up my sentiment up here. I'm not covering up too much of my sentiment down here that you wouldn't get the gist of it, right? So I think I'm going to put my foam, just keeping an eye on the line of her socks. That's what we're going to go by. And I'm just going to take a pencil, if I can find one. Well, can't find a regular pencil, so we'll use a colored pencil. And luckily, I can see through my stamp here because I used alcohol markers to color my gal. And that's my little line. And that will help me know where to put the foam and where not to put the foam. Because again, we don't need her feet flying up closer to the viewer of the card, and we also don't need her head to be sagging down because that's just weird. I'm going to cut a whole bunch of these. If you use foam like this, make sure you're using a scissors that is non-stick. I promise you it will make your life way easier because it just cuts through like butter. Okay, and then there's definitely glitter on my hand still, so maybe the glitter haters have clicked off the video by now, but I just love glitter. I don't know. Okay, so we've got all the foam that I think is necessary, and then I'm just going to eyeball again where she was, right about there, not covering up too much of my sentiments. Fantastic. What a nice little 4th of July scene. Reminds me of Jennifer Coolidge. You look like the 4th of July. Makes me want a hot dog real bad. Anyone else? All right, just a little bit of liquid glue on the bottom there just to keep her little cape from flying away. And then we'll glue on our card front here to our other card front. We, of course, are going to make a smiley face with the glue because life is too short to not do that, right? And then we're going to center this onto the back like that. Yep, looks pretty good. Oh, I know what happened. I didn't cut my glitter down. Okay, hold please. I'm going to cut off the black. Nope, I can rip it off. It's fine. We're good. We're good. We're good. What we're going to do is... Yep, I definitely know. Did I? Did I forget to trim the other side? I think I did. Well, it's going to be a super, super skinny black outline. Can I still use this piece? I think so. We're just going to use the back because it got a little bit wonky. Adding more glue. Yes, I'm leaving in these mistakes because nobody is making cards perfectly, and I think it's important to show that. Okay, so we've got our card on our card base, card front on our card base. Just taking this off to the side here. Yes, okay. Sorry about my squeaky chair. It is what it is, okay? I'm going to trim this down just a little. Nope, I'm not. I'm going to use that marker because I'm nervous that I'm going to cut too much of my card base off. But this is what happens when you buy card bases that are not the right size and everything. But I ran out of my good ones from Pajama Crafter Stamps, so definitely on my list of things to buy in the future from them. They do sell them on their website, so that's good. They also sell Barely Art liquid glue as well, so if you're looking for some good basic card supplies when you're shopping the new stamps, just click around on their website and shop till you drop. Okay, that's looking so much better. Centered, like so. Then we'll stick in our little sentiments to the inside. And now I just want them to be just kind of playful in the middle. So we're going to do them wonky. And I like to put sentiments like this. If I'm going to put a sentiment in the inside, I like to put it smack dab in the middle. So you don't feel pressure to write a novel, because if there's not a ton of room to write anyway, you don't need to express your love and devotion for the whole card because it's just not necessary. Okay, now I'm going to take some of my favorite embellishments. These are from Pajama Crafter Stamps, and they're just a really great rhinestone. I think they're called Girl's Best Friend. And I'm going to stick them in the centers of the fireworks that have the centers visible. I'm not worrying about how many embellishments are on my card. I just am sticking it down where there is something sparkly. And I think I'm going to use the bigger ones in the front because they're closer, right? This is a scene. And the smaller ones going toward the back, near the top, because they are far away. And some medium ones, just for good measure. I forgot that one already had one on it. There we go. And last one, I think. Did I miss any? No, I think that's it. Now I'm going to add 2 little dots of glue on her ears. She does have earrings with the stamped image, but I just want to add a little bling bling to her ears as little earrings for fun. I like to do that with little characters. And then I'm going to finish off my little gal here with just a wee bit of some Nouveau drops. Wee bit. I think I have used my allotted amount of wee bits for this video. Pretty sure I haven't said wee bit in, I don't know, months, and I've said it multiple times in this video. But this just gives a shiny look to her glasses. So cute. Now, if glasses are not your thing, you can make them sunglasses, which I will show you a project of that over on my Instagram, or perhaps later in this video, depending on timing. So be sure to check out all the fun samples that are on the website from the design team. There's a ton of them, and I think you're really going to enjoy this summer style release. So thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions about anything, please let me know what you are wondering about down below. Hopefully you've enjoyed this little experiment with me about my scene card backgrounds, and we will see you in the next video. Bye, crafty friend.